Good evening.
Oh, and we're on time, sir. We are on time.
On the button, military precision. I love it.
Thank you so much. Big weekend, Saturday. Tonight we'll be talking with your political hat on. National Transformation Alliance was out and about, constituency of St. Joseph. Give us an idea. I mean, what did you encounter?
Well, it certainly wasn't my first rodeo, even though I'm not a major political veteran. Um, in 2007, under the Congress of the People, I was a candidate then. I was also the front person for the People's Partnership when they sent their candidate into St. Joseph in 2014. So this is not my first rodeo. So
Other
I
than that, it was full
understood
support.
the nature of the ground to ascertain if it is that you're going to be accepted or not. And this what we saw, what was mind-boggling. It certainly shows that there was a great demand for change, for good governance, for new leadership. Almost every single vehicle, every home, every business place, they came out in their numbers. They contacted us. They were pulling us back if we missed them, speaking to us. Throughout the whole walk, it went throughout the whole of Aranguez Main Road, going all the way to Mount Lambert. 99.8% full support. The 0.2%, as I mentioned, there were two dogs that tried to bite me. I think they were P&M dogs, but that goes to the territory. Other than that, I mean, every single place we went, and it showed. You would have seen the videos, you would have seen the footage, and it augurs well. It is our first walkabout. We decided for St. Joseph being the first walkabout. We had several meetings before. We had hundreds of persons in meetings, starting in the Western Peninsula, going all the way to Tunapuna, into Chaguanas. And this is our first walkabout. And why not St. Joseph? Who wins St. Joseph really and truly wins the election?
Yeah. Now, a large component of the NTA's campaign is geared towards TNT's young citizens. Now, however, there's this general perception in this country that young people are not interested in politics and most times are very reluctant to get involved. So, what is it that the NTA has to offer that they're going to gravitate to?
That definitely, that's a very good point, and it has to do with that belief. What we have seen now is especially younger persons between that age of 16 to 35, and I say 16 because in less than 2 years odd, there would be a general election. So those persons that you're looking at about 20,000 odd every year that have that, they are now have the authorization to vote moving from 17 to 18. So you're looking at over 250,000 odd persons that in that bracket that would be eligible to vote. And because of technology, the era that you're seeing now, the young persons, they're not into hearing political leaders speak about flea-infested head and lice and who's drunk. And that has turned off young persons. What they are saying and they're interested in is good governance. They want positive change. When I was the commissioner of police, and there was that 89% support for me to return, and there was a 70% positive response. The majority of that would have been young persons, and they have that perception that, listen, my type of leadership is what they want to see. So we are going to move heavily on that type of young leadership. And when I say young leadership, we are also looking at young persons who can actually fit into the positions of governance, not just to lead the country, but to serve the country. And we are seeing some young persons coming out as well. So we are really in a good place. It doesn't mean that we are going to focus solely on young persons. We are going to put a lot of emphasis on the elderly, because we have seen governments play very little regard for the elderly. They have disregarded them. They speak a lot of lip service about helping young persons when they don't. And we intend to also put a lot of emphasis in trying to help those persons who have done so much for our country, and it is time for us to show our gratitude.
No, Mr. Griffith, let's be honest here. You're not a hand-to-mouth individual. I mean, you get job offers not just regionally but internationally in the field of security. I mean, you could pack up, you can migrate, you can go live. Why? Why are you part and parcel of what's going to take place on the political landscape in Trinidad and Tobago?
It was because of the great demand that came about. And again, you're correct. I have had my tour of duty. I've served my country. I do not need anything. I don't need kudos. I don't need anyone to praise me or anything like that. I spent 17 years in the Defense Force serving my country, being the first Trinidadian to return with a UN Peacekeeping Medal, being the youngest officer in the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force during the coup. I have served my country as a national security advisor, as a minister of national security, as a commissioner of police. And I just believe that I can give this one good last shot to do something that this country needs, transformation of Trinidad and Tobago. The same way that I was able to transform the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, that was regarded as probably the least respected, the least trusted. And that moved from, it was 14% in August 2018. When I left, it was 55%. It became one of the most trusted, and the public believes in them. What I intend to do is the same way that I was able to transform the police service, we can do the same thing to transform every arm of the public sector. So when people speak about Trinidad is not a real place, I intend to give this country the opportunity to exhale, the opportunity to believe. And that is the only reason I'm doing this, because there's nothing that the public service could provide or offer me anymore. I have done it all. I've been through it. I've served my country. I am doing this because I believe wholeheartedly that this country can turn around, and it can turn around in quick time. As I said, if we could have transformed the police service, we can transform every arm in the public sector: health, education, the economy, you name it. And it can happen with just basic principles: through good governance, proper leadership, good management, measuring performance, and making persons accountable.
Now, many people, what do you say to folks who say, listen, when you talk about Gary Griffith, the first thing they come to mind is arrogance, a man who doesn't let anything just simply slip by. But for those of us who know you, and I've had the opportunity to see you throughout the years, you're much of a family man. And to me, personally, I think you're a big softie when it comes to your family and people around you. Why isn't that shown more?
Well, let me tell you, one thing with this country, we have a very short memory. If people expected that for me to peg back criminal elements had taken over the country, and I'm not talking about those with gangsters who had their pants hanging down, but those in shirt and tie. Some of them may have been in parliament, and I had to fight and fight hard. It is amazing that an individual who put his life on the line, who put his health on the line, who did everything to peg back criminals and make this country safe, they saw my personality as being the bigger concern. Not the fact that public trust and confidence in the police moved from 14 to 55%. Not the fact that every major crime was reduced drastically, the highest reduction in crime in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Not the fact that my last year we had the 342 murders, which was the lowest number of murders in 20 years. And as soon as I left, it went to over 600. They forgot that. What they were looking at is my personality. And you needed a personality of someone who can go out there and take the fight to the criminals. It wasn't based on you singing on and singing Kumbaya. But what they forgot, so as a commissioner of police, that is the type of leadership we wanted at that time to make the country safe. People just have to go back, rewind to 2013 to 2015, when I was the Minister of National Security. I was seen as the most humble, the most diplomatic, the ultimate statesman. And at that time, I was also regarded as probably one of the best ministers at that time. So all you have to do is, I know fully well that the hat I wear, I know exactly how to operate. When I'm a commissioner of police, I was not here to please people based on how I deal with them. I was here to take the fight to the criminals and fight and peg them back hard. And it didn't require me smiling and kissing babies. As a Minister of National Security, all you have to do is remember, have you ever heard one situation of conflict, confrontation with Gary Griffith as a minister? Because I understand that as a politician, you do not become arrogant. You do not become obnoxious. You have to be respectful. You have to be humble, and you have to serve. Totally different to that as a commissioner of police. So I knew exactly how to wear the hat. And on both occasions, I was able to do it in a very successful manner.
Now, in your walkabout over the weekend, interacting with citizens, what was their biggest concern that they confronted you with?
Well, definitely lack of proper governance, lack of leadership, and they were very fed up of the politics. They were fed up of the dog fighting, the arrogance. You have people who want to lead the country, but basically they hate half of the country. I think they are fed up of all of the hatred, the bitterness, and what I promised them is something totally different. Whereas some people want to divide the country, I intend to unite the country. Whereas people want to continue to put hate, I intend to put love. I intend to bring unification. We cannot be hating persons because of the difference of your political affiliation. That is dividing the country, and it is affecting the productivity of this country. We intend to make sure we diminish the powers of our government, to make sure that this type of arrogance and democratic dictatorship would not take place. So the majority of the citizens, they were speaking to me. Obviously, they spoke about the concern of crime and break-ins and so forth, but there are so many other things that they want. They want better health care, they want better education, they want a stronger economy. And I promise them that. And it is going to be not based on Gary Griffith single-handedly doing it. I didn't turn around national security as a minister and as a commissioner by myself. I have the capability and the strength to be able to build the best team around me. And I intend to do that, not based on the party card. That becomes the problem. Whoever gets in government, you arguably have about 50 to 40% of the people with those party cards, and you then leave out 60 to 70% of anyone else because they didn't vote for you. We are not going to do that. We want to make sure we get the best minds available, regardless of your political affiliation. And that is the type of leadership that they wanted in St. Joseph. So I could give you the promise. The People's National Movement could get Barack Obama as their candidate. They cannot beat Gary Griffith in St. Joseph.
Yeah, and going back to what you're saying, the NTA is to transform, your main aim is to transform Trinidad and Tobago by getting the best minds and the best people. Now, campaigning is all good and well, but when you get into that big chair, some of these very set people who are with you side by side may not qualify or have what it takes to sit in other positions. Are you more than willing to say, listen, you're part of this, but I am going to put people there not based on nepotism or based on friendship, but who is best qualified to serve the people of Trinidad and Tobago?
No, definitely, and that is just the point. And we can refer to state boards. When we speak about the economy, one of the best things to do in business is to try to diminish unwanted or wasted expenses whilst not affecting productivity. The state boards, it is just that. We have state boards where over 80% of the persons who sit in state boards have absolutely no qualification, no experience, no training in the state board that they hold. But they get these positions because they were politically affiliated, they were pulling the chairs for the leader, they were organizing bus of short or having a line for them, they were financiers who will recommend that these people sit on the boards. And when you get that, you're going to get lots of productivity. And so the state boards alone, it is also littered with corruption. What we intend to do is, for example, ensure that 20% of the state boards should be selected by the opposition to put checks and balances to prevent wasteful spending and corruption. That alone could save over $3 billion in the economy. So there'll be certain things that you'll be seeing. As I said, we intend to find the best minds available. If you just handpick persons who voted for you, who financed you, who supported you, then you're going to leave out a lot of powerful persons with the attitude and the aptitude to be able to assist in transforming Trinidad and Tobago. And that is what this country needs. We need to circle the wagons, forget about the political hatred and bitterness, and move forward to try uniting Trinidad and Tobago.
So Saturday was not about testing the waters. It's about saying, listen, we are coming out and we intend to win. It's not about press conferences, as you put it, and then at the end of the day, you simply disappear. Is the NTA set and ready to come out in full numbers?
Yeah, definitely. And definitely, you're going to see the type of politics never seen before. On most occasions with politics, it is always based on going on a platform, attacking, destroying, discrediting the other side. We have a prime minister who actually now has post-cabinet meetings to attack the opposition. This is unbelievable. And in media, nobody is questioning it. Every time he speaks, it is to attack someone who is not affiliated to him. That can't help the country. He says nothing about improving national security, health, education, sport. Let's look at sport, for example. They have done nothing to develop sport in any form or fashion in this country. And sport plays a critical part towards the development of a country. We intend to make sport a core curricular activity rather than extracurricular, making sport a very powerful arm in a very powerful ministry. And all of these things, we intend to change. We are not going to be spending time attacking this one, discrediting this one. The country is aware. They are aware that this government has been weighed, measured, and found wanting. What they want to do now is, what can you do to make it better? Show us your plans, your policies. Let us know you have the political will to do what is required and not spend your time being vindictive, being arrogant, and just trying to target those people who are politically opposed to you.
Right. Next step, next walkabout, what's the schedule like?
Well, I think that may very well be Tuna Puna. Again, we have a team, so it is not based on Gary Griffith. We look at everything, we analyze the situation, and we have a lot more in St. Joseph to walk around. So, I as a political leader, I lead by example. I intend I am not going to have my team do anything that I'm not prepared to do myself. It is the same way as a commissioner of police. I will always be on the ground constantly, being there with the troops, not being in brown gabardine with a cane in an office. And I intend to do the same thing as a political leader of this party. I intend to walk the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago with every single person who wants to meet with me. That is why when I put out 42 Gary, it wasn't for people to be calling me 3 o'clock in the morning and have my wife watching my cut and gosh, let's get some sleep. No, it was to make sure I was accessible to the country, accessible to those who I serve. I was the most accessible minister to the media, same thing as commissioner of police. I intend to do the same thing. I am not going to be up in an ivory tower and then you can't find me and then I will just have these little press conferences to attack others. We intend to transform Trinidad and Tobago in every aspect that the country needs.
Closing comments, go right ahead.
I ask the country to believe. Let us put an end to the hate, the bitterness. You might be PNM or UNT till you die, and that is your right. There's nothing wrong with it. But do not discredit the 200,000 odd persons who feel that, listen, I want to select someone and select a party that I feel can make this a better way of life for Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago, I promise you, I will not let you down. This is just the start. St. Joseph has already embraced us, so that's one down. 40 more to go, and we are going to go to the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. Give Trinidad and Tobago a chance. Give the NTA a chance. And all I ask is just one thing, believe.
Thank you so much, Mr. Griffith. All the best to you and your team, and it's a pleasure having you on as usual. We'll be talking again in the near future. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Thank
Take
you.
care.